What's up, guys? Like usual, it's me, Martin, and thank you for coming back to see my part 2 of the Nioh 2 boss ranking, where we'll get to the final 10 fantastic bosses of this incredible game. Now let's dive right into this. At number 10 is Yatsu no Kami. Now, this boss kicked the shit out of me the first time I played this game. It is, I think, way too hard for how early it is in the game, but it is a very fair fight. It's just way too much, I think, for like as early as it is in the game, as it's like third boss fight. He has many really damaging, really challenging attacks. If you don't destroy his snake hands, then they'll become their own enemies. He's got a weakness on his head, which is really hard to hit. It can only be hit some of the time. There's just a lot to look out for and a really challenging fight. And if you also don't do something very specific in the level, then the arena will be covered with poison, which makes it just absolutely impossible. But anyways, this is just a really hard fight, but it is a super fun and fair fight. I really enjoy this fight. There's a lot to it, a lot of really fun moves to dodge, and I just think it's an incredible boss fight. And at number 9 is Maguro Naotako. Now, what I really like about this fight is it's a very, very aggressive fight. You got like this huge sumo wrestler type guy. He's got so much health, big sword swinging attacks. Like, they don't do too much damage, but he's very aggressive with them, so you're always in danger. There's many really cool, like, counter-strike attacks that you can do on him. It's all just a really great, really fun, really challenging fight that keeps you on your toes and challenges you a lot. This is definitely a fight that I think sticks out a lot. It's not as great as some of the other ones. I feel like his sword attacks can get kind of, like, meh after a while, because it does feel a little too similar, but it is still a very, very fun fight I heavily enjoyed. And at number 8 is Shuten Doji. Now, it might seem weird to put this boss here, as it is a pretty easy fight, but it's just a really fun fight. He swings his sword around a lot and is very aggressive with his attacks, and dodging through them is very fun. He's got this crazy ass fire hair whip attack, and just a lot of his attacks are really fun and crazy, and overall it's just a really good time fighting him. I really enjoyed it, and just the moves and the feel of his fight make up for the lack of the challenge. And number 7 is Kasha. Now, Kasha is an incredibly fast and incredibly aggressive boss, but even with all that, she's kind of easy. Her weakness is like the crystals on the sides of her wheels, which is very easy to just hit accidentally. But even so, she's got a good amount of health and does so much damage back that it stays a very crazy intense fight. She's got many really fun attacks. She'll dash through the arena at a quick speed. She'll circle you with fire. She'll like do like a slam. There's just a lot of really fun attacks. And overall, it does provide a pretty challenging fight. But it is kind of easy to stay between her legs. And one thing I don't like about this fight is later on, like towards the end, she will spawn in some weak enemies to help her, which I just don't really like. This is like the one boss I think does that, and I just don't like it. But even so, this is a really, really amazing fight that I think stands out, but has a couple of small nitpick flaws. And at number 6 is Kamaitachi. Now, this is a really crazy hard fight. Like I said, Yatsu no Kami was a very hard fight for how early it was in the game. But this comes a little afterward and like completely kicks that out of the park. It comes a little later, so when you're more prepared, but even so, I found this to be even harder for when it is in the game. But it is still a fair fight. He has a huge amount of very, very fast attack. Of course, this nimble squirrel moves around like crazy and stays very hard to hit. But like once you get more used to his attacks, you can start like getting in some damage yourself and avoiding most of his attacks. He doesn't stick out to me as much as like the top 5 bosses, which we're gonna get to, but I think he is very close. I can't say any flaws, but he is just a very, very great fight. Very, very fun. Very, very fast. Many swipe attacks, tornadoes thrown at you. Great overall fight. And now we get to the incredible top 5. And then number 5 is Azai Nagamasa. This is just an incredibly fantastic boss. He has many sword strikes and sword attacks, ranged projectile attacks, a lot of really fun attacks to dodge. Sometimes he'll fly up in the air and you have to avoid some of his attacks while he's coming down. He's also blocks with his wing, which means like you can't be super aggressive towards him, which normally would be something I would hate, but I don't know, it just works really well in this fight. It is just, the duel is like a dance. It's incredible. And this fight just sticks out as one of the best fights in the game. It's super fun, super challenging, and just overall a really great fight. And at number 4 is Tokichiro's second fight. Now, I put Tokichiro's first fight at number 14, as that was basically like a very, very simplified version of this fight. But this fight is really where everything becomes crazy. He's got many ranged attacks, many magical attacks. He has two swords with different elemental abilities that he just non-stop using. He is a humanoid boss and not a yokai boss, which means that simply attacking him will make him stagger. But he's so aggressive and does so much damage that, like, it kind of is balanced out and he's still very, very hard to defeat. I didn't put him higher because I will argue that I think his damage is a little overkill at points. Like, he can really one-shot you with a nice stream of attacks. But if he does, it would really be your fault because most of them are dodgeable with just some patience and some more thought going into your attacks. And overall, this is just a really fantastic moment in the game. A super awesome fight while you're approaching the end of the game and approaching the final boss fight. And at number 3 is the final boss of Nioh 2, Otakemaru. Now, most people believe that Otakemaru is the best boss of the game, but I disagree. I have, I think, one problem with his boss fight. But this is an incredibly excellent and super fun boss fight. And if it wasn't for that one tiny flaw, this would undoubtedly be the best boss. He has many different yokai forms. He has all the like different yokai forms that you could have chosen. Plus, he has his final form where it's him like standing tall and high with like 4 different swords behind him. It's just incredibly awesome. He has so many different attacks, different elemental attacks like fire explosions, like electricity, ice attacks, like so much really cool shit. It's really, really, really fun to dodge. This boss also is super hard. He kicked my ass so much and took so much to finally overcome him. It's a super long and super like challenging fight all the way through, but it's just incredibly fantastic. I think this is definitely one of the best bosses in the game and one of the highlights in the game. But at number 2, we have Ryomen Sukuna. Now, why do I like this boss better than the epic finale? Well, I really like his attacks. He's very aggressive, very fun throughout the whole fight. And I don't know, just enjoy fighting him more. He's got crystals around his arena that can put buffs on your sword for you to do more damage to him. Which normally you would think that would make the boss too easy, but no, this boss is so brutally hard. It is just such an incredibly fun fight. I like all his spinning sword attacks, and he even has like a backside that can shoot arrows at you if you go too far away. And it's just crazy, man. How hard this boss is just insane. Many burstable attacks that are like really hard to land. Constantly aggressive. That's like the main thing with this boss. It is super aggressive fight, and overall it's just an absolute blast. And like one of my favorite bosses of the game. And at number 1 is Shibata Katsuye. Almost everyone seems to agree that this is the hardest boss of the game, and I too agree. This boss is absolutely brutal. So many of his attacks just can kill you so quickly. He is super aggressive, has so much health, does so much damage. But I find it all to be really fair. His attacks, you can dodge them normally. There's no single attack that I find to be kind of bullshit or annoying. It's all very, very well balanced in this super, super fun fight. It is a really crazy fight that tests you to your limit, tests your absolute skill in overcoming it. The one thing I might not like too much is his charge attack. He does a little bit too much, but it doesn't bother me really that much. He's got many swing many attacks that just do so much damage and come at you really quickly. He has grabs and charges and just so much insane shit to throw at you. But it's all just super well done and super fair. And this fight is just super fun the whole way through. This is undoubtedly my favorite fight of the game. A fight I massively enjoy. It was super hard to overcome my first time, but I was enjoying it the whole time. Thank you for watching through the whole video. I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Have a wonderful day, and goodbye. Adios.